Hi everyone, this is my first review ever, and I am reviewing the new Hatsan Bull Boss. This comes about 36.8 inches long, so it's a relatively short but very heavy air rifle. And there's a lot of things I love about it, and there's a lot of things I hate about it. So let's get into it. The couple of things that I love about it is the slide action. I love that because when you are holding this up, you can easily shoot and then cock it, shoot. So I love that part about it, especially I'm a left-handed person. So it kind of really works out for myself because I hold it to my left shoulder and I can cock it with my right. First advantage for being left-handed ever on a gun, I think. So I do like that. I like the feel of it. I like the shortness of it, of course. I like the price. The price is $649, so I do like that. And the accuracy. It is extremely accurate. It's very powerful. It has a claimed feet per section for 1,070 feet, I believe it comes in at. This is the .22 model. Comes in 177 and .25 also. I also like it has the new QE Energy, which is the quiet energy muzzle on here. And it is very quiet. I'm going to say it's just about as quiet as the Benjamin Marauder air rifle. Very close, if not the same. So I do like that. I also like this rail up on here. It's a very nice rail. It's long enough for your accessories. I also like the short accessory rail on the bottom here. You can fit a bipod, which I have on there, but also if you wanted a light also on there, you could do that. So it's got a lot of possibilities switching back and forth from it. So I also like that. And it comes with the strap, the Hatsan strap. Also very nice. However, there's a few things that I don't like about this gun. Actually, there's quite a few things that I don't like about this gun. And I do have quite a few concerns about it. So getting into it, the first thing you're going to notice when you open up, it doesn't have a Bull Boss manual. It has the Gladius. Not that that's a huge difference in anything, but I thought I'd point that out. You're not going to get the Bull Boss manual. Online, nobody's telling you that. So thought I'd point that out. Now, there's a couple of other things here that I find peculiar with this gun. One of these seals that you get, and what it says on here is spare parts for cylinder. So you're assuming that they mean the cylinder that's in here, which is removable, which is also another nice feature. However, it's not for that. So the best I can tell, the small rings are going to fit the quick fill nozzle that also comes with it, which I'll bring out another point with that. The quick fill nozzle comes with it. However, if you're going to hook it into your Benjamin Marauder or any other hand pump that you might have, you're going to need another part, and that part is the Air Venturi male quick disconnect, and it's this black piece that I have on the end of it. And what you're going to do is you're going to order that at the same time that you order your rifle. Otherwise, you may not be able to fill it if you're using the Foster fitting, because this actually fits onto the Foster fitting. If you don't have that part, then just be cautioned that you may not be able to pump up your gun. So, and how that works, which is another thing I didn't understand when I bought the gun, is how this fitting works. So you buy this, and like I say, it's Ace Venturi. It's a male quick disconnect, and it's a 1/8 inch BSPP is called. What that means, I'm not sure. Anyhow, so you get that piece. You're going to take your nylon tape. This is the seal tape, threaded seal tape. You're going to wrap it around several times. Screw this in. Make sure you tighten it good because it's under a lot of pressure. And that will enable you to put it on either a tank, like so, with the Foster fitting, or onto your hand pump. So that's going to be important for you to get that. Now, this fitting, this quick disconnect fitting, comes with the gun, the fill fitting. So just so you're aware of that. It also comes with this, and I didn't understand what that was at first when I pulled it out. I'm like, what the heck is that? Well, what that does is if you're carrying the cylinder separately on the bottom of this cylinder, which I will explain to you shortly, this screws onto it, and it's just a safety so you don't lose anything in here. Now, getting back to these parts here, obviously these aren't parts for the cylinder, but it looks like, which I haven't actually explored, these little guys would fill onto the seals here when these wear out. And these big black ones aren't for the cylinder either, but it looks like they fit onto these rubber pieces right here for the rotary magazine. My gun came with 2 rotary magazines, which I so appreciate. It's always nice when they give you an extra one. And now, let's get into some of the things that I found that I necessarily didn't care for. And a few things that I really have concerns for. A couple of them are, these pieces right here are plastic, where the rail fits on. So I'm a little concerned, although it does feel heavy duty, but more of a concern is this piece where the slide is. This is all plastic through here, and it is under pressure when you cock it. This piece right here kind of keeps everything in place. So I do worry a little bit about this, and you can watch my other video where after I have tested the gun and I went through, this actually came off. It came, and I ended up having to buy longer screws in here because the screws that it came with were these little tiny things, and I'm assuming that whoever built this particular gun used the wrong type of screws, because it basically, when you put it on, it only goes to the very edge like so. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can get a little closer here. But it goes like that. You can see, whoop, just dropped the screw. Oh, here it is. Where the white thread, the very tip of it, the tip of it right there is worn where the paint is, and that's all that was holding it on. And that piece literally came off. This whole plastic thing pretty much so came off. I didn't discover it until the screws were on, one of the screws were on here. I picked it back up, and it was this bottom one right here, and I picked it back up, and I put it in, I went, got a screwdriver, and it just went around and around and around. So then I went to tighten this one up, and that one went around and around too. And then I went to these. This top one was holding it okay, but barely, and this one was spinning. So whoever put this gun together, now I don't know if that's a design flaw or if it just happened to be on this particular gun. Anyhow, so my concern is this piece right here. If you do get this gun, the first thing you should do is check these screws and make sure they're long enough and they're holding good. And I ended up going out buying longer screws, just a little bit longer, and I used some of the Loctite stuff, and I put them in there solid so they won't come back out. Okay, the other things I'm a little hesitant about with this gun is this cylinder and how it fits in. So to remove it, you unscrew it like so. When you get it unscrewed, see if you can hear this, and it really kind of rubs. So my concern about taking this on and off, I mean, I can already see I've got some scrapes here from unscrewing it. But also I'm wondering what the underneath of this barrel is going to look like after a while. And so that's a concern. Also, these little seals here, now you would think that those are the seals that they would give you. This one just kind of a loose seal that kind of sits in here. And then there's another seal here. I'm going to say right now, might as well go out and buy these because I think they're going to wear. Now, this is my first Hatsan, so I'm not really, maybe I'm being unfair. Maybe these don't wear out. Maybe I'm giving it a bad rap. And this is the cap that will go on here, which is a nice touch. And you can buy extra one of these or a couple of these and fill them up so you have them so if you're out hunting. I do like that portion of it. Now putting this back in, I also don't care for how it goes back in. So when you're sliding this in, well, first of all you can hear it. I don't like that sound. I just don't like that sound. Okay, but then you get here, and here it knocks right into here. I don't know. It's part of the end of the barrel. It kind of knocks into it. A little extra push, and it'll go. But to me, that's a little, I don't know, a little iffy for me. I don't know what that piece is going to look like after a while. And like I say, it's, you know, you got to play with it, and then it will go in. Now, maybe yours doesn't have that problem if you already have one. But it's something to look into, and it's something that's a concern later on. As it screws in pretty good, which I don't mind. Now, the other parts about it is the weight, and everybody said that with the weight. You know, it is a heavy gun. Let's see, I weighed it here with the bipod. It weighs just about 12 pounds with the bipod. If you take the bipod off, it is 11 pounds, 2 ounces with the scope. Of course, I don't know what the weight is. I think it said it was around 9.5 pounds, but you have to have a scope on it, so it doesn't matter what it is. With the scope, 11 pounds and about 2 ounces, give or take there. You talk about the Benjamin Marauder, which I also have here. The Benjamin Marauder comes in at 9.5 pounds roughly. So you're looking at almost a 2 pound difference. So that's a lot of weight on there, especially when you got a plastic piece. You know, add an extra ounce, make this steel. You know, because when you watch my other video, when I go like this, bringing it back, you can see this whole piece flexing when these screws were loose. So I know that this is under a lot of tension. Now the other thing too, getting back to the quick fill here, this also, when you're putting this in, you've got to be careful when you're inserting this into, and everybody said that, but it's not just inserting this in here. You've got to make sure it's, let me just unscrew this. Because I've also run into this, and it could be just because I'm a beginner with Hatsan, and maybe over time, I'm sure I will get used to it, unless I already have a problem. I don't know. Anyhow, when that probe goes in, it goes in here, and then it has to be pushed up against this little hole. If it's not up against that hole good, air will start leaking through here. And a couple of times I've started and I've put this in here, and geez, it's got to be sitting just right, or otherwise the air, you can hear the air just go right out of it. So you'll want to watch that also. I do love the rotary clip on these. I love how you fill them up. I think it's a better design than the Marauder, where these things shuffle around inside, and I don't like that. Matter of fact, there's one right there that's kind of pressed up against the plastic that I have to go back in and make sure it's seated. Probably if you drop it or something, it'll unseat a little. But this is a Marauder. I love my Marauder. I find it accurate. As for accuracy, when you watch my accuracy part of it, this is a very accurate gun. Surprisingly, it is just as accurate as the Marauder. At least I found. I've only shot it 20 yards is the maximum in my yard. I'd love to take it out to 50 yards. My neighbor would probably get very upset with me if I did that. As for power, the power is awesome with it. You'll see in my video, I took 2 pine boards. I call them 1 inch. They're really 3/4 inch pine. And I put them up at 20 yards. I shot through and I broke. The other end came out. You see it's got a nice big hole. All my tests were done with the GSB match. These are the jumbo heavies, and they are 18.13 grams. I've also tested it with the Premier hollow point. They favored okay, but not as good as the exacts. Hit so much harder, and they group so much better, at least in this particular gun. With that being said, another part of my video is I compared my Marauder for power, and at the very end of it you see, and I said, geesh, I also made a shot, and it also broke the board. However, when I picked up the board, I noticed that the pellet only made it halfway through the second board. So I shot through the first board, and it landed halfway. However, with the Hatsan, it went all the way through. Now, I don't have a way yet to test the velocity of it. I'm gonna get that later. So stay tuned for a couple of those tests. Anyhow, for now, let's go outside and let's see how we do shooting the gun. Okay, power test. We've got two 1-inch pine boards stacked on top of each other, and then one behind the other, I should say, and then a water bottle to see if it'll puncture through both of them. And we're going to do the same thing with the Benjamin Marauder after. And I'm sure it went straight through it, and I think it broke the pine board. Okay, there we have it. Went straight through the board here. Broke the board, and sounds like it went into the bottle. So next, let's try the Benjamin Marauder. See how that does. Okay, next up is the Benjamin Marauder. Switch these bipods.
Okay. Let's see how it does. Looks like it also broke the board.